Verse 16, you shall keep the feast of harvest, of the first fruits of your labor, of what you sow in the field. You shall keep the feast of ingathering at the end of the year, when you gather in from the field the fruit of the labor. So the first one now, the feast of the harvest, and the feast of the ingathering. So the feast of the harvest is that first, after the first fruits, that first potatoes that you go out and dig up, right? So you have fresh potatoes. Those ones, that first plants, that first spring onions that come out. They're spring onions for a reason, because they are first green stuff that you can eat after that harsh winter is gone. It was always so amazing for me to see the spring onions and then to be able to go out and then pick them and eat them. Best thing ever. Okay, so this is not the full harvest. This is just that first fruit that you bring in, which you then again need to bring to God. So again, that shows that you are going to trust God not only for the first fruits, but for the real harvest as well. So the first one, the ingathering, not the ingathering, the unleavened bread of the coming God with not empty-handed, because showing your trust in God by this fruit you have left over from the last year, you bring that. Then you collect that first harvest, and it's a small harvest, a very small harvest, but you bring part of that, and again that shows that you trust God for the next step. God is not going to let you down. And now I don't want to over spiritualize this, but a bit like in Romans chapter 8 with the different levels of salvation. And yes, that would be allegorizing it, and I'm not going to do that. Okay? Although they say Reformed people, we love to allegorize stuff. Huh? It's like always, no, that's the weirdest thing. People always, the thing that you're not, is always the thing, and which they are, is always going to be the thing that they tell you that you are. Whatever. So, very practical. It shows your trust, again, in God, that He's going to take you to the next step. That there will be a full harvest. Not like, we have some food here and we survived, and now we have some that would, but if we stretch it, it will get us to next year. No, you bring some of that, so it won't stretch to next year. Why? Because you're going to trust God for the next phase, that full harvest that still needs to come in. And that is then the last one, right? Here, the full harvest is now in. And what do? Now you bring the food to God. Why? Because ultimately it's the fruit of your labor, but God who made all this possible, because you trusted God when you brought those first of what was left of the last year. You trusted God when you brought some of the first fruits. And now you come and you bring that, like this final, this crescendo in a classical, this building up in the cannon shooting in 1824 overture, right? You bring this now, because God, ultimately, you work, but God made it possible for you, right? If God did not take you through all those stages in the harvest, you would not have had this harvest, not anyone else. You need to work so as to get there, but ultimately it was God, and then the trust you showed in Him by bringing all these things throughout these feasts. Verse 17, 3 times in the year you shall all your males appear before the Lord God. So yes, 3 times in the year, this is the 3 feasts. So all the men, right? All the men, the leaders of the house, the ones responsible for their families, they need to appear before the Lord God. So again, you can't send the woman and say, okay, you go there. We are too busy. We worked hard. We are tired. We need to go on a holiday. So girls, I'm sending you down to the temple today. You to church, and I will stay at home. I mean, I get so, it saddens me to see in South Africa and churches how in the morning the fathers in some cases will drop the kids to come to Sunday school, and then they themselves will go home and not even enter the church. It's sad, but that's how it became. It's like, okay, they still feel that the children it's good for them to know something about God. It might help them morally. They're too lazy to give that. The Sunday school will do it. But they themselves don't believe it anymore, so they don't need it. It's very, very sad. So this is kind of what is here stated. If the men can't, like, okay, we work, we need our break now. Okay, yes, we don't really believe in this anymore. No, they not. So sending the kids and the woman to church or to the temple or to synagogues or wherever. No, that's not how it's supposed to work. That's not what they're supposed to do. They themselves need to come before God, because they need to be reminded that all of this is from God, and that they are the example, they are the leaders. They need to learn, and they need to take it further. Now, yes, in the New Testament, it doesn't say it only men, right? Go make disciples, teach them everything. It doesn't say just men, it states make disciples and teach them everything. So yes, women, children, all included ultimately in the New Testament. But in this case, the focus is, of course, the men that's doing the hard work out there, the harvesting, everything. So they need to bring it, they need to partake of this. And yeah, that then ultimately makes a lot of sense.